All right, this is going to be a part 2 video, which this is part 2 you guys are watching, and I figure I make this video real quick because I wanted to include these ones too. I thought about it for a moment and I'm like, all right, you know what? I am going to include these. So as you can see, this was my first Henry that I got, but this one keeps derailing for some reason, and obviously there's like, obviously there is something wrong with Henry and everything, but yeah, look at this. I feel like, yeah, you see that? Look at that. Yeah, it's hard to see because my camera's always blurry for some reason, but yeah, every time I run this Henry on the track and everything, that it just like keeps derailing. It's like moving like back and forth like this, and then it just derails. And then as you can see, I'm missing the center wheel too and everything, but and yep, right there too as well. And yeah, and I ended up getting myself a new Henry, and yeah, and the new Henry's right there. And Spencer, oh yes, Spencer, I definitely, and this was my first Spencer, and yeah, the eyes are missing, the face is missing, one buffer on the right there is missing, and yeah, this is in rough shape. That wheel is missing for both sides. Yeah, and the tender is okay and everything, it seems fine, but yeah folks, it's, and I ended up getting myself a new Spencer, which the new Spencer is right there. Yeah, that new Spencer I got a couple years ago, but yeah. And then yeah, while I find the missing pieces and everything, they hopefully I maybe find these missing pieces too and everything for these ones, even though these don't run anymore. Well, that one runs but it derails, but yeah, hopefully I find these missing pieces too, because I feel the only missing pieces that I think I threw away were the ones on this Spencer. I think those are the only ones that I threw away, but yeah, we'll see. And I know I explained in my other videos too and everything, and yeah, but yeah, I thought I'd just throw it out there. And also too folks, before I end this video, that yeah, like since I already have like two not related, since I already have two not related Thomas items in N scale for my N scale layout and everything and collection, that basically I know I mentioned something like in the one when I got my Kato one and everything of Amtrak and N scale with the superliners, and that basically like something else I think I forgot to mention too is that basically when it comes to like not related when it comes to not related Thomas items, that basically when it comes to not related Thomas items, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when it comes to not related Thomas items, like the engines, like the rolling stock doesn't matter to me at all, because the rolling stock basically, I mean the rolling stock, when it comes to like the rolling stock, like these right here and like that right there, and even right there too, that basically those are different because they're rolling stock and everything, and like same with those ones right there, the Walters and everything you see and right there. But yeah, the like the rolling stocks and everything that are not Thomas and Friends related, though, that are not related to Thomas and Friends, those are different because they're rolling stock and they're not locomotives. I just get the rolling stock and cabooses or passenger cars wherever from different like model train companies and everything. But when it comes to like the models and everything, yeah, like rolling stock though, like whether it's like, you know, like N scale or HO scale, and possibly soon to be O scale when I start collecting not related Thomas items, but we'll see. Yeah, I've explained it before, but just not this though. But if I was to like basically there's no stopping me from still collecting these rolling stocks and everything that you see right here, and even right there too, that yeah, I just like get them from like any train company or whatever though. But when it comes to like the engines though, like the engines are different though, because let me show you in here, because the Bachmann locomotives that are not Thomas and Friends related, the ones that I Well, sometime. Well, I do want. I do want to get a couple of the starter sets from Bachman for that's HO scale and N scale, and yeah, and a couple like steam locomotives too. But these are like not related Thomas items I'm talking about. And yeah, but just like the only type of not related Thomas items, meaning not related Thomas locomotives that I do not collect from Bachman, are the SD40s right here. It's just those ones I don't get, and same thing with all of these ones right here too, because mostly the bigger locomotives that are not Thomas and Friends related for HO scale and even N scale too for Bachman, I don't get those ones because I just feel like they're not as good as like the other ones, because like those ones I usually get like the Kato ones or like the Walters ones and everything because I feel those ones are better. But yeah, the only type of not related Thomas engines that I get from Bachman, the only ones that I ever get like are like these types right here and everything, because these ones run smooth and everything, and I've always wanted that one, and I still want it to this day. But yeah, and yeah, I have that one. I've had that one for years, and it still runs to this day by Bachman. And yeah, these ones are the better ones by Bachman. The what are they? GP 30s or 40s? No, they're GP 40s. No, the GP 40s I feel are better. Like no, like they're good by Bachman, and just the SD 40s I just don't recommend getting the SD 40s by Bachman, because I have 4 of them, and 2 of them run well, and 2 of them have just all of a sudden stopped completely running. So that's why I'm saying don't get the SD 40s by Bachman, because they don't run as well as the GP 30 and 40 Bachmans. But yeah. And as for like all the other engines and everything though, and then yeah, same thing goes with HO Bachman and N scale Bachman. Yeah, same thing. It's the same exact thing though, folks, and everything. But I usually don't explain that much of like those and everything though, like I do with the Thomas, because the Thomas and Friends is what I'm more into and everything. But yeah. But Kato I mostly, but like SD40s of like Kato, like Waltzers, anything, because yeah, SD40s or like Dash 8s, whatever, mostly the bigger locomotives, whether they're diesel, electric, or like P42s or like diesel steam locomotives, whatever, that I usually get them from like different train companies, like the bigger ones, and usually like the medium sized ones too, like the GP40s and 30s, and some of the smaller ones too that are smaller than that usually. But yeah, it's just that the bigger ones like the SD40s or like steam engines, whatever, from Bachman, usually what I'll say is like the bigger locomotives from Bachman, I just don't get those ones from Bachman. And but the ones that I get from Bachman are usually the smaller ones, like the like the GP40s and everything. But yeah, and I'm not saying Bachman's useless or anything. It's just that it's just like my opinion, like what I think of it and everything. But like yeah though. And then, but sometimes like Bachman, it's like hit or miss sometimes, Bachman though. But yeah. All right, yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Yeah, I figure I explained that to you, and then yeah, basically yeah, because basically yeah, with the not related Thomas engines, I'm mostly cautious of like what brand I'm getting them from and everything, and what manufacturer made them and everything. Because yeah, I just don't want my trains randomly stopping again, because most of my trains that are like Thomas and Friends and not Thomas and Friends that stopped running, most of them, like every single one, was from Bachman. So that's why I threw it out there. But yeah, I usually don't mention something like this though, like I said, because I more mention like Thomas and Friends and everything more than like not related Thomas stuff and everything. But yeah, I figured I mentioned it today though. But yeah, that's all I pretty much want to say about that, though, because I probably don't want to talk about this again and everything. But yeah, I figure I'd just throw it out there just to go out of my way and mention it though and everything. But yeah, and then it kind of sends out, you know, like a message out there to like future rail fans and like future model railroaders and everything, and yeah, that just like what to just like what to be like aware of and everything, you know. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna go find the missing pieces to my Thomas and Friends locomotives and like rolling stock and like sceneries and everything that are Thomas and Friends related and not Thomas and Friends related, all those things. And yeah, see what I could find though. And yeah, so leave a like and subscribe, folks. Peace out.